You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I got Pastor A.F. Riggins on the line right now, and I'm still trying to get set up. I had some stuff set up that I thought I was going to be able to do. I'm just going to have to do it in another show. But anyway, I just want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news today, and as this stuff moves forward, we're gonna participate in it. We may not participate in it like we used to, but we're gonna participate in it in a positive way and let you know that there's a lot of stuff going on in Texas, Pastor. How you doing?
Pretty good. So how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I can't complain about nothing. I have nothing to complain about. I don't know if you've seen the video where I went back and visited my old neighborhood today.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Man, I got to that point, Pastor, and I was sitting there, and I really got into the part about Tallarico and Jenny Henry Holson. It really meant something today. It turned me to a point where I reflected on Mickey Leland. I reflected on being a child, seeing Mickey Leland fight his fight at that place. And as I continued to go on, I went through the neighborhood, and I saw this lady.
Mm-hmm.
I know you saw the lady in the video that I was showing.
I didn't get that part. I saw you with there. I saw you with looking at the monument or to Mickey Leland, and I didn't get any farther than that.
I understand.
Yes, sir.
Within that video, I was standing out. Oh, I'm sorry. Within the video, I was standing out there, and I was looking at the lady, and I just happened to glance across. Now, mind you, Mickey Leland is not downtown. Mickey Leland is in the center of Cashmere Gardens.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not saying that it's perfect, but what I am saying is when I went over there and I looked around, and during the video while I was taping, they didn't know I was taping. This lady didn't know I was taping. Mm-hmm. This lady came out of her house, went into the medium of cavalcade in the Cashmere Garden area, and was out there picking up paper. I just looked. I said, it don't matter where you stay. It's what you make of where you stay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, my church used to meet at Cavalcade in Leffenwell.
Okay, let me think about where that's at.
Okay, Sing On. You know, Sing On. Sing On.
Yeah, I know Sing On. You talking about that community center that's right next to the park?
No, Sing On is the grocery store.
Mm-hmm. I know what Sing On is. Yeah.
So you coming off of 610, you pass Sing On, a couple of streets down the left-hand side of Leffenwell, there's Seventh-day Adventist Church there.
Oh, on the opposite side. All right.
Yeah. Now we used to meet there on Sundays because they had church on Saturdays.
Okay.
I was organizing back in 2017, 2018. Yes, sir.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I think I know where Leffenwell is. But I was down at Cavalcade in West Hunting where the Mickey Leland statue was, right. And also I drove through my old neighborhood, but past I stood at a point when I got to the Mickey Leland statue, and I was about to go across the bridge, and I just happened to glance to my right, the church where I found God. Mm-hmm. I could see it from the Mickey Leland park.
What's the name of the church, brother?
It used to be called Metropolitan Church.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I can't tell you what the name of it is, but I do have pictures, and I was working on it when we got on the air to try to get it out so I could share it with it. I might be able to share it. I'm not for sure. Yes, I'm going to have to get it up. But I just want to tell you, Pastor, it just kind of showed me a point where I just stood there, and I looked across, and directly across the bayou is a club that I don't know if you ever heard of. It's called Mr. A's.
No,
I know you don't club. I know that, but a lot of trail riders go to that club called Mr. A's right there on the bayou and stuff like that. It's called Mr. A's. It used to be Max.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, a long time, way back in the 1960s, my mother and my father met there. It used to be the only hamburger stand that you could drive. It was like a Princess hamburgers where you drive up and you get your food from there.
Right.
And my mother worked there, and that was the place where my mother met my father at.
Oh,
So
that's
can
cool.
you imagine me standing there looking at where I found God, where my mother and father met, and looking at Mickey Leland's trophy, all at this Mickey Leland's
Monument.
statue
Yes,
park,
sir.
monument park, and all of that at one time, and it just kind of hit me. So I took it all in. But one of the things that I did when I was standing there, I remember how important voting is. I looked at the accomplishments of Mickey Leland,
Right.
and I remember that you said it one time. Sometimes we got to go with the best of the best candidate that we have that's there. And the only thing I can tell people, and I went through that neighborhood and I met with a couple of people, I even interviewed a couple of people. Pastor, I ran across a Hispanic apostle,
Mm.
and she stood there and her words were so clear. And it wasn't about politics, because when I asked her about politics, she told me, she said, look, I'm not going to do that. She said, but I'm going to tell you about the word of God. She said, we got to come together as people, regardless. Now, mind you, I saw that I was filming a beauty shop, and she was just happened to be there, and she came from it's making me think something now. She came from up under the tent, eating her breakfast in the front of her house.
Okay.
In the hood, I didn't know who she was. And she spoke. And she spoke words of wisdom. And she spoke it so clearly that it could have came from anybody. And mind you, I haven't been on that street forever. And the only thing that I told the pastor was this. I said, I grew up here. I said, when I came from the hospital, you see that house that's back there? That's the house that I came back to from the hospital when I was born. That was the house where we had to change the whole concept of the house during the daytime from a house to a beauty shop.
Yes, sir.
So all the stuff was moved into one of the rooms, the living room, and it turned into a beauty shop during the day. My auntie did hair there. And to go on, I was telling her, I said, right across the street from where my auntie was doing hair. I don't know if you may not be old enough to remember those moon cookies.
Oh yeah.
And you remember those moon cookies?
Yes, sir. I'm born in '68.
Right across the street, they had a store for black people that was set up to sell bread, milk, and whatever. And it was just a small store that you walked up into. And it wasn't no big front, but it shows you how much we took care of each other. What we had, we used what we had within our community. We didn't walk all the way up to Singon. We walked straight across the street and called Miss Smith. It didn't matter what time it was. Miss Smith, if somebody was at home, they was gonna go open up that store and give you what you wanted. So we didn't come from we weren't always a people that had to go to other stores outside our community. And I guess that's the reason why our dollars circulated within the community. Now, I'm sorry, Pastor.
No, man, you tell the truth, man. I grew up in Toomey, Louisiana, and the street behind us, Miss Tio had a store like that. Sold bread. They sold, necessity, the items that you need for food, and cool pop cups, all that stuff. But one day we had a train track that ran through our community, and right outside our community. And one day the wholesome bread truck man tried to beat the train. And he didn't beat the train. And the store closed down after that because he got killed on that train track.
Wow.
Yeah. Anglo-American man. He come to deliver bread to that store, and he tried to beat the train.
Wow.
Train was doing about 70 miles per hour, and he didn't make it. And that bread truck was the kind of truck that open door, like UPS. Driving a truck like that, yeah.
Pastor, I remember you telling us that story. I do remember you telling us that story. I'm trying to get something set up over here, but I can't do it. So I'm gonna continue with the show. But Pastor, it's those moments that we have to think about in our communities. That those are the things that pull us together and make us come closer. If you think, let me just share this. when I sit there and I talk to that lady, she wasn't a black person. She was a Hispanic person. And she was a Hispanic minister. The house that she was talking about having church in used to be some of our best friends. We used to call each other cousins. We used to stay so much together. People actually thought that we were cousins. That was my mother's best friend. And man, as I listened to her talk, I was like, you know what? We got to keep this moving. November is not that far away, and we need to keep moving. We need to keep talking to everybody that we come into contact with. We need to tell them about the election that's coming up because it's just that important. Gina Hinojosa is almost even with Abbott now, believe it or not.
And Abbott running scared. He running a commercial talking about the Democrats going to be socialist, Republic, socialist, something calls us a name, and we're trying to raise taxes, and we want transgender boys to play with girls. You know, stuff that's crazy because you're running for his life.
Yeah, because don't stop, Pastor. I'm good.
Yeah, because he's saying the Democrats want to flip Texas and make it blue. Yes, we're ready. We're ready because we're tired of him trying to be a king. We're tired of them taking away money from education, taking money from early childhood, from Head Start, taking money out of taking money out of free lunch programs, taking money away from the women, infant, and children, causing us healthcare prices to rise. All kinds of stuff is going wrong while he's yet coddling to criminals like Paxson. And what's his name? Dan Patrick and this Christian nationalist stuff, acting like the Anglo-American evangelical church has all of the truth, forcing us the schools to put the Bible. Now, nothing wrong with you studying how to read the Bible, but when you try to force somebody to do it against their will, God always say, "Whosoever will, let him come." He didn't say we should force people to do that. Putting 10 commandments on the wall. We don't even live by the 10 commandments. There's 605 commandments. We live by under grace in the New Testament. So all this stuff is a front of control that they're trying to use and acting like that the Republicans have the best for Texas. No, sir, it's time to change that. And I sit here as a bishop, a senior pastor of a church, and I've been pastor since 1992. And you can't fool me about what God wants and what man wants. They're using the name of God to try to to denigrate and subject people and try to fool people into what they want. And so it's time for us to go out and vote for Gina Hinojosa and vote for James Tallarico and every other Democrat that's in the area. I'm independent, but the Republicans right now do not have what's our best interest, and they're going to drive us into the ground economically. They're going to drive us to the ground socially, and if they can, mentally and emotionally, culturally, trying to. So that apostle you was talking about, the Hispanic lady, Ron, what color am I? Look at me. What color am I? My true color. What color am I? What color do you see?
I see a black person.
No, sir. What color do you see? My shirt is black. My shirt is black. What is my color?
Brown, cocoa mellow brown.
Yes, sir. You're brown. That lady was brown. Every human being has some hue of brown, except for the Anglo-American has a little pinkish color, and everybody else has a brownish, tannish color all the way up to dark, dark, dark. If anybody this color right here, you ever seen anybody this color right here? Look at my shirt.
No.
Okay, so I said all this to say this. The terminology black, brown, white, yellow, red, that's all politics. For them to call Hispanics brown and call African Americans black and to call Anglo Americans white, they're not white. Because you see that star behind you, that's white. See that word that says F? That's white. Behind you, that letter F, they're pink. So I'm saying that we've got to get away from putting people in boxes like the brown and the blacks got to get together and we're going against the whites and what about the Asians who are yellow and the Indian, the Native American is red? No. Every human being is some color or hue or brown, except the Anglo-American is more pinkish color. Everybody else is more brown, and we can't let them divide us. We got to come together and we got to take back what we're supposed to have in our culture, in our communities, in our homes, in our schools, in the economic marketplace. Like you said, back in the day, the money circulated in our communities. We've got to build on that foundation.
You're absolutely right, Pastor. And so I listen to you talk. The real reason why my head is still moving. Hold on. Pastor, take this question while I get this. This is a new person and they're coming into the show. I don't want to ignore them.
Hit to entertainment music. They're teaching the Bible under the white. Yes, sir. Whoever you are, yes, sir. That's the problem. The evangelical fundamentalist church is going back to what they did in the 1800s during slavery and also during Jim Crow. They said, I remember the governor of Mississippi and the governor George Wallace of Alabama at one time saying God was a chartered member of the White Citizens Council. Let me say it again. You go watch, go watch Eyes on the speech was being made that God was a chartered member of the White Citizens Council. When they think like that, they're trying to use the Bible to say that America is a Christian nation, and whatever they come up with and define Christianity by, we all got to live by that. First of all, America is not a Christian nation. America is a religious nation. America had founding fathers that were belonging to the church, and some of those were slave owners. There were founding fathers that were Jews. There were founding fathers that were Muslims, and founding fathers that were atheists, and everything in between. The founding fathers that wrote on those Declaration of Independence, that wrote on the Constitution, was all religious in background. So America is not a Christian nation. Number two, the only Christian nation is God's church. And the Bible said they're from every language, every creed, every tongue, every background, every nationality. Okay? Number three, you cannot use religion to subjugate a people. You try to make one person or one group of people better than another group of people and try to say, we don't want the LGBTQs. We don't want DEI. We think a woman is not as great as a man. We believe that the color of your skin is determined by what kind of rights you should have and privileges. And we want to make sure you're born in the United States, basically of Anglo-American blood. That's what they're usually trying. They're hiding behind all that. And the final thing I'm going to say is this. The Bible, the whole Bible is in Africa. The whole Bible is in Africa. Let me say it again. The whole Bible is in Africa. Now you say, well, Pastor, what about the Middle East? The Middle East. It's in the Middle East. No. The Bible was written and was the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Ethiopian Bible were the greatest Bibles, the first Bibles. The 66 books we got come out of that Bible have 88 books or 84 books, the original Bible, that they won't touch. Even Jude in the 66 books make reference to the book of Enoch is in the original transcripts. Do we have the gospel? Yes, we have the gospel. Believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, you will be saved. But they've cut out a lot of stuff in the King James Version. Why? Because King James was a man that was king of England who the first colony called Jamestown, where the first slaves were brought to. Let me say it again. King James is the king that in 1619, Jamestown colony, the first slaves were brought there with the King James Version of the Bible. that was trying to use that version to subjugate us. And I hear people today, if you don't read the King James Version, you're going to hell. No, you're sadly mistaken. Yes, there's so many other versions that you can get better understanding. But as long as you have the good news, let me tell you what, that's all you need. And the last thing it says this, in the Bible says he came to the Jew, the Greek, the Gentile, and even the barbarian. Who's the barbarian? Guess who the barbarian was? During that time of the Bible, the barbarian was over in Europe. Beowulf. Yes, remember about Beowulf and all those stories about that? England, they were the barbarians. The Vikings, the Norsemen, the people that came through England, they were the barbarians. They're the last thing in the Bible. So what is happening is the last has become first and first become last. Because the Africans are the one in the Bible. The Bible starts in Africa. The 4 rivers, Nile, Pison, Tigris, all in the other river, Euphrates, all that came out of this Garden of Eden. That's Africa. Iran, that's Babylon. I mean, Iraq is Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, that's Babylon. Iran is the Medes and the Persians in the Bible. Come on. You didn't, it was 1947, they did the Suez Canal and divided all of the way. Palestine, Syria, Jordan, all those countries are all in the Bible. They're all Africa. I rest my case.
You're not resting the case. What you're telling everybody is that we have to come together as a group. We have to come together and make a difference in Texas. See, you heard me all this time. I've been complaining. I see you out there. You heard me all this time. I've been complaining, talking about Pastor Noah. He ain't gonna let me get away with it. Talking about James Tallarico. But what Pastor is saying is that we're one nation. We're one people. Don't matter the color. If I meet you on the street, unless I did something to you, you shouldn't be offended by me. When I was in that neighborhood, and I want to tell you, when I was in that neighborhood today, going back into my neighborhood today, it wasn't no enemies there. Like I said, I took a picture, and this Hispanic lady came from up under where she was eating her breakfast, trying to eat outside her place. And she didn't ask me what I was doing. She accepted that I was there. So I just want to say, we got to do what Pastor is saying. We got to focus on what Pastor is saying, because we need to understand that we're in the battle for the next 80 days, 90 days. I think we might be at 79 days. Everybody's going to have to stand up. You're going to have to get Poochie. You're going to have to get Mercedes, Lexus, Desiree, and everybody that's over the age of 18 to vote. To vote. My daughter's texting me in the background. My godson has asthma, so I always pay attention to that. And I'm just telling you, I still have a normal life, even though y'all see me here and you see me today out there. I still have a normal life. So I just want y'all to know that we can change the color of Texas by voting blue, and we're gonna have to come together and realize, like Pastor told me before, we're gonna have to come together as a whole and realize that it don't matter. Color doesn't matter. When you're going for a bigger good, color doesn't matter. And Pastor, I found out something. The more you put yourself out there, the more that you do, the more that you try to bring people together. Do you know that people fight you tooth and nail? I'm not talking about people in this state. I'm talking about when I'm out there and they see my podcast going out. Do you know what they say? And I check out where they're coming from. You know what they say? They say, well, you need to leave that alone. That ain't none of your business. You just trying to destroy America. I'm not trying to destroy America because I'm standing up for my own. We're trying to stand together and united and know that if we're divided, I want to say this, Pastor, I need to be clear about this. Know that if we're divided, we still remain the minority. But if we can somehow unite and see past all that stuff that they about to come out with, and see, I don't want y'all to get. This is where I don't want them to go, Pastor. And I need to have this speech right now, because the Democratic Party is going to go so much. They're going to put in so much because they're fighting a whole state. They put a lot into James Tallarico already to get him where he's at. So they may not have any. They may not be able to match the funds in which the Republicans have in reserve. But see, here's something that I need y'all to be aware of and understand. Ken Paxton then basically conceded the race. He don't want to debate Tallarico. He don't want to be seen with Tallarico. He don't want any of that. He's basically conceding.
But remember, I told you.
If we ever go ahead and we got one person going, come on, Pastor.
Remember, I told you weren't going to debate him?
Yeah.
Remember you saying what Tallarico's going to do when he get up against Ken Paxton? I said, Ken Paxton don't want to debate him because he didn't want nobody to ask him about all that stuff he got behind him.
And what we got to do is, Pastor, what we also got to do is make sure that people understand we got to tie Ken Paxton to the governor.
He is. That's his buddy.
We got to tie him together because they both run together. I see Abbott trying to separate as we get closer to the campaign, but we got to be smart enough to know that both of them are in the state of Texas right now. Ken Paxton is the attorney general that was impeached by the House, and then Dan Patrick and him in the legislature saved him.
Yeah, in a sense,
that's the reason why he's still as an attorney general in the state of Texas. They saved him. So if they saved him, that's attached to Abbott that's sitting in the White House. And Abbott, that part, I'm going off today because I need people to understand. That park that I went to today for Mickey Leland, if Abbott was in charge and he was the governor of Texas at that time, that park wouldn't exist.
Right. Let me tell you something else. Everything that Ken Paxton sues, trying to go with Trump, Abbott behind him. He sued because he didn't think Biden won the election against Trump. He sued for a lot of other stuff that everything he goes and run behind Trump. And Abbott is behind it. Abbott and Ken Paxton run together. And everybody needs to know that.
You have to tie them together. You cannot let one escape from the other one because it's election time and one of them wants to go a different direction. If you can't stand up at any time in your life, this is the time to stand up. We have never been this close to actually taking over. They've been in power for 30 years. Anything that he's offering up right now is an excuse for what he has been doing. Abbott is offering up excuses. Look, I'm gonna give you a clear example of what I'm talking about. Look at HISD. When I talked to that young lady today, and we were sitting up there talking, she informed me of something that I didn't even know about. That Betsy Ross, my elementary school that I went to, that had stood there for years, right at 59 in Cavalcade, is closing down. Mm-hmm. That comes from the governorship. Don't let him escape that, because he's trying to close the schools within the community. Mm-hmm. And as he gradually closes them one by one, you're not going to have any public school systems. Everybody can't go to a charter school. What if that charter school is the only school that's on the other side of town, and you got to bus kids from one place to almost an hour away, and you're not looking at the big picture? Because we didn't have that show on this podcast before. Not this podcast, but the podcast that we did almost 14 years ago. Inkster, Michigan.
Yes, sir.
Represents that. They don't have no schools in their community. They closed it down. Those kids got to get up in the morning from the kindergarten to the high school and be bused almost an hour away. If that's what you want in Texas, keep voting Abbott in there. Keep voting them in. Pastor, I don't know what to say because I'm a bundle of, I'm just a bundle. I'm proud because I seen where I came from. But I know that if we don't get on board, if we don't understand how big of a change that Gina Hinojosa and James Tallarico can make for the state of Texas, y'all missing it. You need to shout it out. Do whatever you have to do. I asked the lady today coming out of that building that was right next to Mickey Leland Park that looked like me. And you know what she told me? She said, sir, I'm going to tell you, I haven't been in politics for a long time. She said, because when my husband was alive, he did all the research and stuff like that. But she never once admitted that she wasn't registered to vote or anything. I said, ma'am, I said, are you registered? She said, yeah. I said, when the last time you voted? She said, well, I done missed some, I must admit. I said, ma'am, I said, this is a time for us to come together as a whole. I said, we have a chance to turn Texas blue. I said, that building that you just came out of, that you was using, that Harris County building, they'll probably shut that down too. They're in the process of eliminating everything that they have to spend $1 to do. Now, this lady was in there in that Harris County building right across from Mickey Leland Park, and she was working out in there. But she came out there, Pastor, I'm going to tell you what caught my attention. She came out there, and I had just finished doing my taping, and when she came out of there, I went to walk up to her, Pastor. She had a group of black cowboys on horses on her shirt. Mm-hmm. And when I asked her, I said, I see that you got black cowboys on your shirt. She misunderstood me. She said, no, I ain't no Dallas Cowboy fan. I said, no, ma'am, I'm talking about your shirt. I said, ma'am, I'm talking about your shirt. I said, your shirt has black cowboys. She said, yeah. I said, I'm going to tell you, my husband was in the horses when he was alive, and we used to go to trail rides and all that. I said, the shirt is what I'm talking about, man. I had to correct her. So anyway, it's just one of them things. We gonna take Dallas Cowboys, Texan fans, and all of that. We don't care where you at. We know that if you got voting in a polling place out there, we ain't separate. That's one time that we're gonna join together and on a united front and come together to change Texas blue. Pastor, I'm gonna take this thing and then I'm gonna come back to you.
And let me say on
the line, he comes back and he says he wants to steal $1,000 pins. He wants to steal $1,000 pins. He's talking about Paxton. Yeah. He went in there, somebody had a Monte Blanc pen that they had paid good money for, and they got it on tape that Paxton picked it up and put it in his pocket.
Oh, yeah. He'll crook, man. He'll crook all the way through, man. He'll crook. Here's the elephant in the room. Ann Richardson, if I understand right, was the first woman governor of Texas, right? Mm-hmm. Gina Hinojosa can make herself the first woman and first Hispanic governor of Texas at the same time. I want to know if we are going to vote for Tallarico when people go in that booth. What would make you vote for Tallarico and turn around and vote for Abbott? Mm-hmm. What would make you switch over and vote for Abbott? Are we ready for a woman? That's what I'm worried about. I'm ready. I'm not asking, are we ready? Because I'm not ready. But can Texans understand that if we did it back in whatever, the 90s or 80s, 90s for Ann Richardson, can we move forward and do it for Hinojosa? We make jokes, people make jokes about Abbott. They got names they call him. I don't think it's fair because he can't help the fact he had a wreck and is paralyzed. That's beyond the point. But because the way he treat people and the way he act, they got nicknames they're giving us not too nice. It's one thing to call out a nickname and talk bad about him and you're not in his face. Well, I want to know when you close that booth, are you going to vote against him? Don't call him, quote unquote, Hot Wheels and don't vote against him. Don't call him whatever kind of other names y'all call him and don't vote against him. He's done enough damage to Texas. Send him home.
You know what, Pastor? You said it. I don't know if I could say anything any different than what you just got through saying. Don't look at Abbott and think that he has your best interest at heart. He's had 30. They've had 30 years in power. They have shown you what they're going to do with everything that they got. He can't change. If he was going to change, why is he just changing 90 days out from the election or 80 days out from the point of where everybody's going to? Why is he making all these promises now? Because he served 3 terms already. If he was there, if he was in the position where he was going to make those changes, he's had ample opportunity to do it. So who is he fooling? He's not fooling us. We need change in Texas. And you're going to have people from outside the state attacking you, telling you what to do in the state of Texas. Look at the president of the United States. He's not in Texas. And they getting on him hard, Pastor. I see.
Who was the governor before Abbott? I can't think of his name. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Rick Perry.
Rick Perry. Here we go. Ann Richardson. After him was George W. Bush. George W. Bush goes up to the White House. We get Rick Perry. Rick Perry wants to become a run for president. Fell flat on his face. Went to go work for one of those presidents. I don't know if he worked for George W. Bush or worked for Trump at some point and got ran out. But from Rick Perry, we got Abbott. We've been stuck with Abbott ever since.
Mm-hmm.
The Winans put a song out in 1990. It's time. Time to make a change.
Change is always good if it's going for the people. If it's better for the people, change is good. And sometimes at times like these, I know I'm using times, but I want to make sure that I'm clear about what I'm saying. In times like these, we have to step outside our comfort zone.
Yes, sir.
We have to realize that there's a bigger picture. And I see that cross on your chest, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
I see that cross. I like it. But we have to be bigger than who we are. And if you pray to a God that you know without a doubt has done something in your life, has changed things in your life for the good, I want you to understand that prayer changes things. This may be where we're at. Because if we can change Texas, guess what? That was a major hole in the South. Texas was a major hole in the South because it's an oil production state. It's also a minority state, a majority minority state, and you've seen that in the voting of getting Jasmine Crockett, that the minorities hold some weight. But if we ever can combine, I want to say this because Pastor been saying this, but he said it in a way where I want to make sure everybody understands. If we can turn out the vote that we did for Crockett and add to it, if we can turn out the Hispanic vote that came off of Tallarico and add to it, if we could turn out some undecided voters on top of that, we become the majority.
Yes, sir.
And we have to look at it from the point of looking at numbers and people and what it's going to take. It may take you going back to your old neighborhood or something like that drive that I made today. It may take you to put in some effort. It may take you to do what Cheryl did. Cheryl said during the voting cycle, she went and volunteered at a church taking people to the polls. On that particular day, especially during early voting, we need to come together and give people a reason to vote. See, because if it's close, they're going to say something wrong with the election. But if we turn out in force, we can't say nothing. Numbers do not lie.
That's why they're trying to make it hard to vote in Harris County. They make it hard to count the vote, too. They're trying to make it hard to vote in Harris County They're trying to make it hard to count the vote in Harris County. Harris County, the biggest county in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is one of the biggest states in the country. 34 electoral college. We're only behind California.
Is it New York, California?
No, California got like 55. New York got like 29. Mm-hmm.
But that general region of the Northeast makes up a lot. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I need you to understand this. The strength of the Democrats is in less states, but they have the most electoral votes out there.
Yes.
They have the most electoral votes. And we have to put people in place that's going to turn those electoral votes to Democrats. See, Pastor, I want to discuss something with you.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to change the subject, but here's what I see out there. And this is a discussion that we're going to have. I want your opinion. We talk about, what's his name? Hakeem Jeffries. Mm-hmm. We talk about Cory Booker and a couple of others that's in that Northeast area. And when we talk about them in a way where we are talking like they're a problem. But let me tell you what their representatives have that's going to tie back, and I want to get your opinion of what I'm about to say. We can talk about them not coming to Texas. Cory Booker did come to Texas, by the way. He came to Dallas in a group. But we can talk about them not coming to support these candidates running for office all that we want to. But you know what their representatives have? Even if you take everything else off the table, their representatives have somebody that looks like them in those districts. You can hold them accountable for whatever you want to hold them for not doing and not agreeing with you, but they have somebody within their district that they can identify with. I can identify with Tallarico, single mother that raised him. I can identify with a Christian that understands the good of what he wants for Texas. I can identify with him. I just think that he got caught up in the political game work, but he's still good for Texas. Gina Hinojosa worked in the Texas legislature already, so she understands that process of government. She may not look like me, but she's what we got now. And in comparison to what's in the governor's office right now, she's 100% turnaround. Mm-hmm. She could understand, and if you listen to her talk, she kind of sounds like Ann Richards. I heard a guy come. Well, Pastor, I'm gonna let you answer the part about Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries, and then I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah, you're right, Ron. While they might not spend the money and the time to get down here, they have something we don't have. Or their constituents have something we don't have. They have African American men that represent them on a national level. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we can't have that right now, but because we don't have no one African American male that's won in the primaries. Colin Arred was close to 1-2, and I think he's running for Congress again now. Mm-hmm. But for Senate and governor, the best we can do right now is Tallarico and Gina Hinojosa. Mm-hmm. If we put our votes behind them, our power behind them, our money behind them, in another cycle soon, because we put a seed, you invest into something, our results one day going to be, we're going to have an African American male or female in Texas running for major office. But we got to put the seed somewhere. This is the seed right here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And based on what you just got through saying, Pastor, and that's what I said today with everybody that I touched base with, even the Hispanic woman, and I even got a chance to talk to a black man that was there. And I have all that video. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to have time to get it over. My grandson was going to football practice. I had to make sure he got off and everything like that. So I still live a normal life. But I want to tell those people that I came into contact with, I am going to use that video. I'm going to bring it into the footage in here because it was a couple of things that just resonated with me. I think one of the black lady, the first black lady and her son that I talked to, she had worked at the hospital. She'd been in the hospital system for almost 50 years. She was 76 years old, Pastor, and she took off running on that path. Pastor, I can't do that. My knees so bad I can't run, but I seen a 76-year-old woman take off on that path, that walking path that they built through the old neighborhood, and she was running, and her 51-year-old son was in the back. She took off. I had to stop him. I couldn't stop her. 76 years old. And they talking about we don't get out and we don't walk, we don't do this. We as black people, when we get old, we just dry up and die. But that 76-year-old lady was picking them up, putting them down. And I didn't even know she was 76. I just looked. I said, golly. But we have to give ourselves credit. We have to pat ourselves on the back sometimes. We can't let other people pat us on the back all the time. We have to pat ourselves on the back. We have to see stuff within the community, call it out, and work towards something as a group. I don't care about what they say that we can't do, because as I look at those comments that's negative coming in my feed, they're coming from people outside of the state. Because the first thing I reply, I say, I looked at you commenting, but do you live in the state of Texas? And you know what they say? No. Because Texans understand something. A president should never be able to tell a governor what to do when they do it. Texans understand that you should never have a corrupt legal counsel sitting in place for representing Texas. They understand that. You don't have to explain it to them. We're not explaining it to you. You know that that's not right. You shouldn't have a 34-count convicted criminal sitting in the White House. You shouldn't have a pedophile sitting in the White House.
Yes, sir.
But we're going to take it one step further. You shouldn't have a flat-footed person that would refuse to serve in the military sitting in the White House.
Yes, sir.
You shouldn't have a person that doesn't understand a soldier's is away from their family in another country, and the toilet should work.
Yes, sir.
Food should be fresh. If you want that soldier to fight a battle, that don't come from commanders, that come from the president of the United States, because he can allocate basic necessities, but then you want to hold that, I gotta go. You want to hold that soldier on that ship or on that land and tell them that they can't get away because they're in war. But you go to Congress and say, no, we're not in war. No, we're not in war. But then within the military system, and the only reason why I know this is because it's people out there coming out right now. They're saying it. Latoya Green, she is furious. She just retired from the military. She just retired from the military. I think it was about a year ago or 6 months ago. But she is saying it. You cannot tell people that they can't leave to go home when their time is up and call it a war. To them, their military leadership. You remember we was having that discussion about Head Smith? What's his name? Head Smith?
Yes, sir.
And we were saying that you follow a lawful order. Well, a lawful order means that when my time is up, I got the right to leave. But if it's wartime, what you're telling me is that I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. And they don't have no choice, Pastor. They do not have a choice. I don't know how we could tell our soldiers and other citizens out there. I don't know how we can do it, but we need to somehow come together and realize that this is one of the biggest moments of the United States of America. This is one of those moments where we have to stand up as a people and realize that there's a purpose. If you don't have a purpose right now, you're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. I'm gonna tell y'all this, that we are there. Pastor, I don't know if you feel this fire coming through, but I feel it.
Hey, man, look here. You fired up tonight, brother. I'm letting you have it. You fired up tonight. But see, that's what we need. We need to take this fire, though, that we're speaking about and make some action come out of it. Take this fire that we're speaking about and more people. 1 + 1 is 2. Okay? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 16 is 64. Now, I can't do no math past that, but you get what I'm saying? I'm saying 64 times 64 ain't gonna get it right. All I'm gonna say is that we then have the power to do what? To move and make things happen.
We have to take it. We definitely, Pastor, I love your arithmetic.
Yes,
because you're always adding. We don't need no subtraction. We don't need no subtraction at this time. We need adding. We need to add as many people.
We need adding and multiplying, no dividing and subtracting.
Say it, Pastor.
See, let me tell you what. There are forces that want to divide us and subtract us from one another. Keep us from one another. There are forces that want to make us feel like that we can't be unified. We don't need any division and subtracting. We need adding and multiplying. Adding to each other courage, adding to each other belief, multiplying our power, multiplying our strength. We need to multiply our efforts, adding Hispanic vote to the African American vote, to the Anglo American vote that's all blue, adding the Democratic vote to the independent vote, adding the poor with the rich. Come on, adding the forgotten with those who are up at the top. Everybody joining together to make this change happen, not only in Texas, but we need to make this nationwide, that we can come out of this long nightmare that we're in, this national nightmare that we're in, and that the dream and the vision of a better future can be realized. That's what we need to do. I didn't mean to make a speech right there, but that's what we need to do.
Pastor, I had to let you grind while you was grinding. I had to let you grind. But here's something else that I want to share with you guys as you listen to us. I'm from Houston. There was a church called Pleasant Grove, and I might have mentioned it, misquoted or said something, but Pleasant Grove was one of those churches that was in Houston that showed you what Black people can do, what people can do, less fortunate people. Let me just say that, because that was one of the largest churches in Houston at one time, before there was ever a Lakewood church. They had 3 stories in that church in one building alone. And even after then, they got together and built a dome that you could see it almost everywhere in Fifth Ward, that you could see. They're everywhere. And you know what? As I drove over there today, I didn't see that dome. I didn't even see that long building. Do you know they have torn that down? History. Now, mind you, if it was somewhat a representation of somebody else that was out there, they probably would have made a way to go around that, but they just took that history and it's no longer there. Pastor,
let me tell you what else is not there. The influence of that church is gone. The impact of that church is gone. The insights to the community and to the outside, to the world of that church is gone. That's just one example of what they want to do if we don't rise up and build from what we already have. They want to shut us down till everything that we already had, we lose the impact, the influence, and the insight, the vision where we need to be.
Let me. I think I'm gonna have to go in tonight because I'm gonna have to bring people on board with us.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm gonna have to do that because I'm gonna tell you something. We're in the fight for our life, Hispanic and Blacks. And I'm gonna tell you about a Hispanic fight too. See, they bought Texas from Mexico.
No, no,
So
no.
you got a right to stand up and fight. Go ahead and tell it, Pastor. I'm
Let
gonna
me
let you
tell the
tell it,
story. Let me tell the
and then
story
I'm
the
gonna tie
right
it
way.
back together.
Tell the story the right way.
I'm waiting for you,
Texas,
Pastor.
Texas was part of Spanish colonization.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico got its freedom from Spain, and Mexico was California, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and Texas. Texas was the farthest east part of New Spain, which became Mexico. Anglo-Americans moved into the territory out of Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, bring with them slaves. The Mexican Constitution of 1830 outlawed slavery in all of its territories. William B. Travis, Jim Crockett, and all those guys who they made Texas heroes wanted to keep their slaves. So they had what you call a consultation in Anahuac, the Turtle Bayou Resolution. Turtle Bayou is in Anahuac, Texas, in which they said,
Wait a minute, Pastor. Pastor, can I just
go ahead, sir.
that's Anahuac, in case y'all want to know, I just went past it this weekend. Anahuac is, if you look off to your right, it's a museum there that's been there for years. A small, little bitty museum. So I'm gonna let Pastor finish. But I just want to tell you, if you've seen that museum on the side of the road of I-10, what he's about to tell you is something that you should be familiar with.
Yes, sir. So what they did was said, we want to go back to the Constitution of 1824, in which Mexico allowed slavery. And Mexico said, no, we're not going to have that.
Mm-hmm.
So they rose up in Gonzales, down by the Guadalupe River, and decided they wanted to rebel against the Mexican government. They went and took a cannon that belonged to the government of Mexico and took control of it and put up a sign that said, come and take it. And that's how they started the war with Mexico. When they started that war with Mexico, they ended up down in Goliad. And in Goliad, the Mexican army beat them so bad until they had them picking out beans. If you pick a black bean, you live. If you pick out a white bean, you got killed. So they ended up going from there to Alamo, and Alamo was a garrison that belonged to the Mexican army that William B. Travis, David Crockett, and a bunch of other guys, Jim Bowie, the Bowie knife, he was out of Louisiana. All these guys got up in there and held this fort, the Alamo. And the Mexican government was trying to get in there for like 6 to 7 days or whatever. While they're trying to get into the Alamo, the other guys went over to the Washington Nebraska, by Brenham and Navasota, and made a resolution of Declaration of Independence. This is 1836, and declared Texas free from Mexico. Why? Because they wanted slavery. Don't get it twisted. See, it's his story. The way they tell the story, like Mexico was treating them so bad. Mexico wasn't treating them bad. Mexico just said, we don't want y'all to have slaves. And all these Anglo-Americans wanted slavery. And the Mexican army overran Alamo and killed everybody. And a few of them survived. And the ones that survived ran to tell Sam Houston. Now, later on, we find out that later on, when Sam Houston got older, Sam Houston got rid of his slaves. At that time, he did have slaves. That big old white statue you see in Huntsville, he had slaves at one point. Now, once Texas became an independent country, and America wanted to take Texas in, Sam Houston fought against it because Sam Houston didn't want to be a slave owner no more. And he went from a hero to a zero. But at the time, Sam Houston was leading the army. And what he made Santa Anna do was chase him through Hempstead. Chase him all the way through Hempstead. All the way down from Hempstead down to the San Jacinto River. Playing hide and go seek, hide and go seek. All along the way, people joining Sam Houston's army. Santa Anna was running behind him with a whole group of people, including all of his women, all of his party and everything. And every day about 3 o'clock, they have what you call a fiesta, then a siesta. They would drink, have a good time, get drunk, then go to sleep. And Santa Anna was sleeping down by the river with his pants down whenever Sam Houston came around there and caught him on the backside. And that's how they won and got the independence. And they captured Santa Anna and put him in jail. But it was all behind one thing. Texas wanted to have its slaves. Don't let nobody fool you. That's why once 10 years later, they became a state in the United States. They became a slave state. And what was the last state to give up their slaves? Texas. That's why we have Juneteenth. 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the war is over with. The man have to get off the boat and gavels and say, you know what? Y'all free. Y'all been free. So Texas always had a problem. Don't let them fool you. Mexico was not the problem. Now, later on, what happened was this. When we fought the Mexican-American War, because why would we fight the Mexican-American War? We said that the boundary of Texas, or Texas said the boundary of Texas, once it became part of the United States, they said the boundary of Texas was the Rio Grande River. Mexico said no, it's the Nueces River. They want Mexico still want to own Texas all the way up to Nueces River, and Texas and America said no, it's the Rio Grande River, and they had a war. And in that war, America won the war. And when America won the war, they captured California. They bought Arizona, come on, and they got New Mexico, because New Mexico was part of Texas at one point. And that's how we got all that land from Mexico. But it was all because Texas wanted to keep its slaves.
And you know, let me share something with you. And I want to be clear when I say this, because a lot of people tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, or we don't know what we're talking about when we get into the history of Texas, or we talk about the governor's office, or we talk about the lieutenant governors and all the rest of that. And you just had a full rundown of what Texas history. As a matter of fact, some of y'all didn't even want to stick around for it. But it shows you that a united front can make a change for Texas. See, don't let nobody from the outside of the state tell you what can go on within the borders of Texas. We have to come together, because we've been fighting from slavery to people that actually own the land that we own. It was their land. They wasn't willing to give it up. They fought for it. And then fighting for it, that we're back to that point where we're a little later in the future, but we're uniting to basically turn Texas blue. And if we can turn Texas blue, guess what? Our neighboring states can do the same thing. Our neighboring states can do the same thing. And that's the unity that they do not want to have. Because what if Louisiana did the same thing? And we continue to march eastward, because they seen the example that was set here in Texas. And it doesn't have to see what they want to do is tell you, no, it's Hispanics. Oh, you know, Talarico is Italian, as Pastor explained to me. That's an Italian dialect. And they want to say that Gina Hinojosa is Hispanic. And, you know, as Black people, they're going to start putting that propaganda together to try to divide the vote. But we have to be smart enough during this election cycle to know that division is not going to change. Here's another thing, Pastor. As I made that drive up to down I-10, and I looked on my left and I looked on my right, and I know that the route that you go home, because when you get to I-10 at a certain point, you start going toward, I think it's, what exit is that, 67 or 69 or something like that, to cut across instead of going all the way into Louisiana. But I don't know if you go that route.
You mean to go through Port Arthur?
No, we go. I think it's not Port Arthur. You go that way because you're trying to go straight.
So I go through Beaumont.
Okay, I get to Beaumont and I go toward. I'm trying to get to Newton, Jasper.
You by Highway 67, right there.
67,
yeah, right out there in Orange.
Yeah,
before you cross the bridge, the last exit in Texas, you get Highway 87 to go towards Newton and Jasper.
Yeah.
Because
so here
you headed towards Shakerville. You kin tools, I told you. The spikes.
Pastor, let me share something else with you. You know Tawana Caden father, the one that you hear me talking about all the time, the one that ran for office here in the state of Texas and all of that. She was a Democratic nominee here in the state of Texas. Her father pastored the funeral for my uncle in Bonware, Texas. And I got a chance to meet him, and I sit there, and I every time I see him at one of my family's funeral, I always tell him, remind him about Tawana, his daughter. And he said, yes, she's not here, she's somewhere else. He was telling me she in some other state. I said, yeah, because every time I try to talk to Tawana, she's always doing something. She has a mission where she's out. She was raising books, taking books to Africa at one time, taking kids' books. Her daughter, Kelsey, or one of them, is going to be a nurse, going to be a doctor.
Yes, sir.
Let me correct it. I'm sorry, Tawana. I downgraded that part, but she's going to be a doctor. And Tawana is just one of these people. If you see what she's doing for her kids as a Black woman, the initiatives that she put in place, she could head any organization that's out there. She's just that good. And I'm glad that I got a chance to meet her through this radio program, through this radio internet thing. And her father, he's just one of those strong Black ministers is out there. And he reaches out and he says what he means and means what he says. And I'm proud that I got a chance. I don't know them personally. I know them from what we do here. But I've seen her father in person and seen him at a couple of funerals. So I just want to share with you where we come from as a people. We may not always get there, but if we continue to kick, stomp, whatever it takes. I remember the Houston Oilers say the next year when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, they was going to go up there and kick the door in. Well, we have a chance to kick in the door of the governor's office, and they don't like it. As a matter of fact, they're getting ready to start redirecting money to the state of Texas to make sure that we don't turn Texas blue because they're scared of what happens to the surrounding states in Texas. So I just need to tell you why.
Beto O'Rourke couldn't do it. Beto O'Rourke couldn't win. He didn't win the Senate race, neither did he win the governor race. But the Tallarico, see, Trump is the poison pill. If John Connor would have won the primary, we wouldn't have this problem. Because it'd be like a young man, Tallarico, trying to go against a wiser, older Republican who'd been there a long time, John Connor. And he would win hands down.
Mm-hmm.
But you have Ken Paxton, a crook, against a young man who's got his grandfather in the commercial who's a preacher, talking about making change. His mama was a single parent, and he was a teacher. He's likable. His coattails, his downwind is helping Jenny Hinojosa against Abbott. That's what's going on.
Let me.
What's going on?
Yeah, let me just say this, so y'all can understand what Pastor's saying. What Pastor's saying is that James Tallarico got a lot of attention from the Democratic Party. They put a lot of money in him from the legal ways. None of it was illegal and nothing like that. But the residual that's left over is what's helping Gina Hinojosa become who she is. And why not take that same money, because they're investing it into one? We don't have to divide that. What we need to do is take those funds and combine them up under one roof, because I'm starting to notice, Pastor. I'm starting to notice. I want you to listen to what I'm about to say. I'm starting to see Gina Hinojosa on the same platforms as Tallarico. And that's, I see what they're doing, but we've been saying that here ever since I got converted.
Well, I told you, but that change is gonna happen. Now I said it's gonna be around Labor Day, but they beating Labor Day with it. They're
gonna have to. They're gonna have to, because if you gonna make a difference in Texas and you on the last leg and you coming around that bend, you're gonna have to. Let me put this challenge out here. I want to put a challenge out here. Every time that you see a Gina Hinojosa or a Tallarico message on Facebook and you out there just looking, do me a favor. Share it on your page. Because they may not be able to match the funds that the Republicans are going to put into this race for Ken Paxton and for Governor Abbott. They may not be able to match the funds, but if we can do our share of sharing information, not just me, but Pastor, everybody that wants this transition, that's a simple change. You don't have to shout it out, but you need to also share it with everybody that's coming out there, or talk to people when you're talking to them. Say, look, so we need a change. We did this for 30 years. They didn't do anything. Abbott was a part of that regime for 30 years. We need a change. So I'm not asking you to go outside your circle, because when you go behind that ballot box, you're going to vote for Tallarico anyway. So the only thing you have to do is vote for the governor. Boots on the ground, absolutely. It's gonna take boots on the ground. It's gonna take gas, foot on the gas, and never letting up. We need to go 100% of whatever we're doing right now as a group of Hispanics, blacks, and undecided voters, just like that lady that I told you I ran into today. We need them to come on board, and we gonna next, Pastor. I'm gonna come up with the dates. The last day of registration.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna come up with that. I'm gonna come up when early voting starts. We need to know those dates so we can lock in and get what we say, Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, Desiree, and all the rest of them. Yes, we need to get everybody. Pookie, Ray. John, everybody. We need to get them all out. Big man, little big man, big man, and all of that. We need to get all of y'all out to vote. Everybody.
Pee-wee. Orange, yellow, all of them.
Everybody. And for my Hispanic brothers and sisters, y'all got some names too. So you might as well get with them too. We need everybody.
Hami.
Huh?
Jose, Hami. Yeah, all of them.
And I'm gonna say something, Pastor, and I know that you may not know this, but I remember, and this is to my Hispanic brothers and sisters. It used to be a club out 59 called Esplanades or something like that. I can't even pronounce it the correct way. But I was doing an event one time. And you're absolutely right. Lottie, Dottie, and everybody.
Yes, sir. Lottie, Dottie, and everybody.
Yes, sir. Everybody.
6 minutes of the press, you're on. 6 minutes of the press.
There was a Hispanic club, and this guy was working for Budweiser, and this is what he told me, Pastor. He said that club on a Friday and a Saturday night, they have to take truckloads of beer. Mm-hmm. That club. That's just how many people was in that club. So if you know anything about that club, you know exactly. Pastor don't know about it, but I'm gonna share it with you. But that it shows you that we can unite as a front. And we're not uniting behind no beer. I'm just telling you the amount of people within the community that we have.
This is an example. Yes, sir.
And one more thing for my Hispanic brothers and sisters that's out there. That man that was in Houston that was working, going to work that morning, he was murdered.
Yes, sir.
He was murdered because Governor Abbott has not went down to visit that site. But he wants your vote. One of your own was murdered. But let me tell you who went down there to visit that site. Gina Hinojosa. Gina Hinojosa. She went down there and visited. You don't believe me? Go out there and check it out, because I try not to put out anything I can't back up. And I got my counterpart here. Him and Byron Glass is good about telling me, Ron, that may not be true.
Yes,
we need to back it up. But I know, because I have this particular picture. I have the picture and the video of her going down there. So if you want a reason to change your environment, get ICE on a leash. They may not be able to put them outside the state, but they can put them on the leash where they're not running around killing everyday people for doing their job. Because I wouldn't have did anything any different if unmarked cars chased me in the morning. When they got out of their car, thought they had cornered me, and it was just an inch left, I'm gonna still try to get out of there.
Yes, sir.
Because I fear for my life. And if we don't start painting that perspective and having it out there, because that is on Governor Abbott's watch. Don't let him tell you that he's just going to put it to the Texas Rangers and let them investigate. He is the head of the Texas Rangers. How do you think that's going to turn out?
See, he's buddies with Trump. Abbott buddies with Trump, so that's why he try to stay neutral and let it slide past the election. And
we have to call it out. We have to call it out. Everybody has to call it out, because I'm gonna tell you something. That wasn't right. That was wrong. That wasn't right. I got one more person I'm gonna give a shout out, and Pastor, we're gonna start winding it down, because we didn't got to our time. Jack Daniel. I don't know who Jack Daniel is, but I'm gonna tell you, I know it's alcohol, but I'm gonna tell you gave us a like tonight, and I really appreciate you participating. For everybody that's chimed in, we try not to get in the mud too much, but tonight I was fired up.
Who's Jack Daniel?
I talked to today, you told me that you didn't want to disclose who you was voting for, but I did ask. And when that lady, what she told me, Pastor, she said, I can't vote against my people.
That tell you everything.
So what was she saying? She was basically telling you who she was voting for.
Yeah.
I can't vote against my people. And we're not asking you we're asking you to do your own research, make your decisions based on what you know, what you can back up. Because me and Pastor could be out here till morning time, and he ain't going no more longer. Pastor, let me tell you the reason why Pastor still works a regular job. He does this on his volunteer time. So if he volunteered to come out here and share information with you, we have a reason to stand up. We have a reason to feel like we're somebody. We have a reason to feel like our efforts are not in vain. Byron Glass is normally out here with us, but Byron must have had something to do. He has a regular job too that he tries to do. Yeah. In the state of Louisiana, he has a candidate that he has endorsed from the state of Louisiana. And if you go out there and Byron Glass is doing what he said he would do, he's following through that he was going to support the candidate that he thought was best for his job after he's letting it go after 32 years of being on that school board in Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
So, Pastor, come on and give us what we need. I think we done got a message out there. I think we're getting to a point where I'll tell y'all tomorrow. I want to give it to Pastor to close this out tomorrow.
Hey,
We're
did you
gonna
ever
talk
find
about
that picture from
Kamala
last
Harris.
time? You didn't.
Huh?
You didn't find that picture from last time.
Oh, Pastor, let me share this with you. Go ahead, Pastor.
Let me tell you why I want to put the picture. I want to talk about some stuff.
Come on.
I want to talk about Reverend Dixon. If you can get the picture up.
I'm gonna find it. Go ahead, Pastor. Keep
Yes,
on
sir.
talking.
All right. So, guys, let me tell you what. I'm not. Ron and I and other movers and shakers in the community are not working in isolation. We're trying to connect with people who maybe have a bigger platform than us or have more ways to get involved in the community. One of those guys I'm blessed to be partnership with, and now to be part of his Kingdom Builders Global Fellowship is Bishop James Dixon of the Community of Faith, and he has a doctorate ministry in social justice leadership. And as the president of the NAACP of this region, and also the president of the Harris County Sports Authority, he is impacting our community, our city, and our world. So I was trying to get Ron a couple of weeks ago. I was able to become part of his fellowship. So I wanted to be able to show us that what we talk about, especially as ministers and preachers, pastors, bishops, what we talk about on Sunday, we've got to make sure that on Monday through Saturday, it becomes effective. Everybody talking about trying to go to heaven, but you can't go to heaven and be at ease and living through hell. Let me say it again. You can't go to heaven and then be at ease. Then all around us, we have hellacious situations of poverty, crime, racism, struggle, otherisms, and not be able to address that. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure we address that. And so that's why I'm championing another person. I like to champion voices that are greater than mine, platforms that are bigger than mine, bigger than ours, so that we can make sure that we can be able to connect with them and be part of what they're doing. Ron, did you get that photo up?
Pastor,
You can't get it.
I'm still struggling with this filing system that I have. I'm not a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm not a teacher by trade. My filing system is corrupt. I have a lot of stuff that I do.
Yeah.
And I try to put stuff in a place where I can find it, but I'm gonna build you a folder, Pastor, and when I build this folder,
yeah,
when I built this folder, I'm gonna get with it, Pastor.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk for a minute. I got to get myself off the screen for just a minute.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Hey, audience, we're glad you joined us tonight. We're here every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. Live on our YouTube. It's also being broadcast on our Facebook page called Two Gents and a Mic. As Ron made allusion to, Baron Glass is also our co-partner out of Louisiana in the central Louisiana area. We've been blessed to be able to do this since 2015 on Blog Talk Radio. We did a lot of audio back then, and now we're doing video and audio through the YouTube channel, through the platform that Ron Spikes has. On Wednesday nights, I do come back on Facebook Live. Ron may be able to make it back to the show to show you that we meet on Wednesday nights. It's Bible study. The most important thing in your life is the Word of God. So Bible study comes on at Wednesday nights at 7:05 p.m. at Aquila Fennell Riggins. That's my page on Facebook. And we're studying the book of Matthew. Also, I'm blessed to be in the City Gas area. Ron talked about Cavalcade, Cashmere Garden, not far from there, City Gas, out by Wayside, Lay Road, McCarty, all of East Houston, Old Lakewood area, church area, City Gas. Our pastor church called United Covenant Church of God, meet 11 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Why is it important to know? Because if we don't connect the church with our community, we don't connect the church with our deliverance, we don't connect the church with our victory, then what we're doing is in vain. But if what we're doing is eternal, even right now is impacted in the present, but we'll know that we've done something greater for the future also. Brian, give us a closing word, brother, and I'm gonna come back and close us out.
Let me just say this, and I know that I'm jumping around a lot today. Normally, I would have had everything lined up and trying to do it. I had Pastor Riggins stuff lined up, but today, my purpose was to go out to Mickey Leland Park and sit there and introduce you to Mickey Leland Park, because some of y'all never seen it. Some of y'all never knew the stuff that Mickey Leland did during this time. And Mickey Leland and Barbara Jordan, they're part of our history too. And I want to say this: if y'all don't do anything else, go out and listen to Pastor A.F. Riggins on tomorrow night for Bible study. He walks you through chapter by chapter. He educates you. And if you don't have a Bible study place that you go to, make sure that you go out and listen to Pastor Riggins' Bible study tomorrow night. You heard him tonight. Just like he put out that history, he knows the Bible. He knows the Bible front, back, and covers. He don't just repeat it, because you can ask him about a verse, and I think he can do better than these AIs out here when you ask him about something that's in the Bible, because he grew up in that environment. His brothers were preachers. His brothers are preachers. His father is a preacher. His mother is a real good singer. I heard him. And you know, you have to understand that when you come up in a place of God, you bury your faith in God, regardless of what man is doing. You don't have to worry about anything else. So please go out there and celebrate with Pastor Riggins. I'm gonna say this tomorrow. I'm going back in history a little bit, because we need to discover, did Kamala Harris actually raise $1 billion? Because she's coming back. And I know that's another show, Pastor, so don't get wound up. Don't get caught up in that part. But I'm just saying, she's coming back. She's trying to make an effort. But we need to know, did she raise $1 billion? And we never, and I'm going to say this, and it's not negative, but I don't think the American public ever had an after action report.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we get that after action report from that $1 billion. And she's coming back. She's trying. She is coming back. She's overqualified. Overqualified. So when you hear us talking about Kamala Harris, just get prepared. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're going to discuss it. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock. If you don't get it at 1 o'clock, you can always go back and listen to it in the podcast. So I just want to say thank you, Pastor. Thank you for the history lesson. Thank you for showing us that we have a reason to fight. Thank you for putting out that Hispanics have already fought that battle. Have fought that battle with us already. We just need them to come together one more time. We need every undecided voter to make up their mind that they want to make this a difference. And this particular guy that just texted in the background, me and him have something in common, Pastor. Mm-hmm. Neither one of us have to get up in the morning to go to work in the morning.
Wait, what's AAP?
AAP. Hey man, text me real quick while Pastor's on the air, because I don't know what AAP is. The acronym AAP. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Text me.
Let me tell you something else. Why he's doing that? We didn't get to touch on this tonight with Stephen A. Smith.
Ooh.
Stephen A. Smith. I wanted to touch on it, man. The black after action plan. That's what he said, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Why did we win the battle or lose the battle? What could we? After action plan. That's the military way. And yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Stephen
okay,
A. Smith.
Let's get this Stephen A. Smith out. We got 1 minute, about 1 minute or so. Come on,
Black
Pastor.
Association of Journalists gave him thumbs down. He's upset about it. He has a very long history of being a great sports writer, a great sports commentator, and he's making millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And what he does in sports, I love what he does in sports. He knows his football, he knows his basketball, he studies baseball. He came from being a beat writer for the Philadelphia 76ers to being a worldwide national voice in sports. Stephen A. Smith did one thing wrong. He crossed over into politics. And I think he did it for the money. He'll talk bad about Trump, but at the same time he'll talk bad about Jasmine Crockett. He'll talk bad about Kim Paxton, at the same time he's gonna talk bad about Kamala Harris. Whatever way the wind is blowing for that day, he's gonna play both sides of the fence to make some money. And the Black Association of Black Journalists, the National Association of Black Journalists, NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists said, thumbs down. He hotter than a firecracker. He's upset. But he shouldn't be, because he did it to himself. He denigrated. I got a whole article I sent to you that Bishop Swan, this guy named Bishop Swan Talbot or Talbot Swan, he gave a whole list of things that Stephen A. did to get himself in a position that the National Association of Black Journalists says thumbs down. Go ahead, Ron.
You know, one of the things that I want to say about that Stephen A. Smith situation, I need you to understand something. Stephen A., I'm going to talk directly to you. If your own people turning their back on you, eventually, guess what happens? You get enough bad press, and your station you could be the greatest sportscaster that there is, or a person that knows more about sports than anybody else out there. But as a Black person or as a Hispanic person, they only need an excuse to get you out of that position. You're probably one of the highest paid people out there. So you're going to have to figure out which one you want to do. You're going to have to stay in that lane. I know you want to do both, but you don't, from what I see, you don't know enough about it. And it's too many people calling you out on your feelings. So get in something that you know, stick to it, and don't let anybody take you out of it. Because one thing about you, and I'm gonna share this with you, you're Black and you got there based on your merit. Don't let them tear you down and put you out of there.
Yeah, see,
you better have an exit. Don't let them create an exit plan for you.
Right. Because they already exited a lot of people. Ryan Clark, a lot of people that are real good. They exit, people like what's the football player, the quarterback that was
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and played for the Carolina Panthers. They exit
I know who you're talking about.
Right, they exit all those guys like that. And all you gotta do is set yourself up for that you went too far into politics, and then ESPN, Mad Dog Sports, all that stuff gonna have you running with your own podcast like Don Lemon in a minute, or like Roland Martin, because you're gonna become a liability.
Joy Reid.
Huh? Yeah.
Joy Reid, they're
gonna give you a golden parachute because you got the way now. Stephen A. Smith, I can beat you in a debate on politics. I don't even have a platform. Why? Because that's my arena. I've studied history since 1986. I've taught history since 1998. I've been involved in the community involvement since 1992. I can beat you in that. You just jumped into it because you got the microphone, you got a platform, but don't know what you're talking about. That's dangerous. And this National Association of Black Journalists, these people have laid down their lives, a lot of them. They'll put themselves in harm's way to report the news fair and accurate and try to be to work for their own people from the point of view as a journalist, and you jumping in, just grabbing sound bites and jumping from side to side, making noise. That's dangerous. Take it like humble pie. So you know that you learn a lesson, apologize, and go back to sports. I rest my case.
And that's what we want you to do, Stephen. We want you to go back to sports and stick to it and keep on telling us what's happening. Cam Newton, thank you.
Yes,
thank you, bro. Thank you.
Cam Newton, Ryan Clark, all them guys got cut out. They came through there like a chopping axe. And these guys are good what they're doing. But they wanted to rearrange and keep their budget. And maybe they're looking at DEI. See, because ESPN headed to the Super Bowl right now. ABC is under fire from Trump. They own all that. They're all together. And you think you sitting pretty and high, Stephen A. Smith. But if your own people turn against you, you're gonna give somebody another excuse.
Absolutely. And here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna kind of take this into the next show.
Yes,
we're
sir.
not caught up on time, but I realized that Pastor is on his own time, and he had a lot of stuff.
Oh man, look, I was starting to get weary eyed in a couple of minutes there because
I know, because you're tired from your profession.
Yes, sir. I'm back.
A pastor on top of that. A pastor on top of that.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna get you out of here. I just asked for a little bit of time, and I'm running over on my time. So what I want to do is, Byron, we miss you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Pastor, and then I'm gonna come back and close it out in my normal way, and we're gonna close out this stream. Appreciate everybody.
Yes, we're so glad that we're part of you becoming part of us. Two Gents and the Mic would not be effective if we don't have the audience and the people responding that can take what we're talking about on Tuesdays and make it work on the other days of the week out there in the real world. So we're glad for that. We're glad for that. We're glad that God has given us this opportunity to impact our community, our city, and our world. He's the creator of all things, and with him, all things consist. And without him, we can do nothing. With him, everything is possible. Let me say this. Without him, we can do no thing. With him, we can do anything but fail. We leave this platform, but not his presence. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let me just say this. I want to say thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. I've been saying it ever since we've been on the air. Whatever we do, even when we was in Blog Talk Radio, that was my sign off, was thank God, thank God, thank God. And I just want to tell you, join in tomorrow with Pastor Riggins doing Bible study. And Pastor, what time was that?
7:05 p.m. on Facebook Live. Aquila Fennell Riggins is the page. We do it simultaneously with a couple of churches. You can watch it live or archive. Thank you. Okay, and my show is at 1:00 p.m. If you can't catch it then, you can also catch it in the archives or at a podcast. Go to the YouTube page. It's all there. Wherever you listen to us, thank you. I want to say thank you, and every which way. But we got to keep the what, Pastor, on the. You got to keep the foot on the gas. All right. Pedal to the metal. All the way through November the 3rd. Enjoy it, y'all. Y'all take care. Good night, everybody. Thank you for letting us in your house, in your establishment. Good night.